Hi everyone and welcome to Bad Car Symptoms. One very important part of your car's coolant system is the coolant temperature sensor, also known as the ECT sensor. As the name says, this sensor measures the coolant temperature while the engine is running. It then turns that measurement into an electrical signal that goes to the car's computer. The computer then uses that signal to show the temperature on the dashboard gauge, but also to regulate the fuel injection as well as the ignition timing. So a very important part of your car, and it would be good to notice a problem with it on time. This video will show you how to do that, so stay tuned. Bad car symptoms. False temperature values. A bad coolant temperature sensor can give false values when the inner parts of the sensor fail. The usual scenario in this case is that the temperature gauge starts acting abnormally. It may show low temperature when the engine has already reached working temperature. It may show overheating although the engine is still cold, or the gauge may not work at all. All in all, the values from the gauge do not actually show the real coolant temperature. The temperature gauge does not work at all. It is common that after showing false values, the temperature gauge stops working completely. So even if the engine has reached working temperature, the gauge shows 0, just like when the engine is cold. Rough idling and engine misfires. A bad signal from the coolant temperature sensor will cause rough idling and, in worst cases, engine misfire. As mentioned, the car's computer, the ECU, uses the signal from the coolant temperature sensor to regulate the air-fuel mixture and the ignition timing. If the sensor sends false values, it can cause the mixture to be too rich or too lean, or a malfunction of the ignition system, which leads to the engine misfire. Black smoke from the exhaust. This leads to the next symptom, which is thick black smoke coming from the exhaust. The smoke is caused by a rich air-fuel mixture that appears because the car's computer got a faulty signal from the coolant sensor that the engine is still cold, when in fact it reached working temperature. Bad fuel efficiency. One more symptom of this problem is very bad fuel efficiency, especially with a rich air-fuel mixture problem. As a rough estimate, the fuel consumption will go up 30 to 50% or even more. The check engine light appears. Among or after all of these symptoms, the check engine light will appear on the dashboard. It may be due to the faulty temperature sensor, but also because of a disturbance in the air-fuel mixture and the abnormal exhaust fumes caused by this. The check engine light may first appear intermittently and will after that probably be on all the time. Thermostat issues. You may also have problems with the thermostat and the coolant flow. This symptom is very dangerous since it can lead to engine overheating. On lots of cars, the coolant opening and closing function is connected to the coolant temperature sensor, so when the sensor is faulty, the thermostat may stay open or even worse, may stay closed, which leads to overheating. So if you suspect a bad thermostat for an overheating problem, you may want to check the ECT sensor also. Engine overheating. Finally, the most serious but rare symptom is engine overheating. Now, this is a tricky symptom since it's hard to distinguish between a false value from the coolant temperature sensor and actual problems with the coolant flow. As mentioned, the gauge can show overheating, but in fact the engine is still cold. But on the other hand, if the sensor affects the thermostat, it can lead to actual overheating. In this case, to be safe, it's best to make an immediate inspection in the engine bay when the problem appears and check the coolant flow. This way, not only will you avoid overheating, but you'll make an initial diagnosis of the problem. If the coolant flow is okay, the ECT sensor is next in line for checking. Once more for the end of this video, if you notice high temperature values on the temperature gauge, make a thorough inspection of the problem. Most importantly, first check the coolant flow. Don't in any case disregard this problem, as it may lead to engine overheating and a blown head gasket, which is a big and very costly repair. If the problem is in fact the temperature sensor, on most cars it's pretty easy to replace, provided you have access to it. Of course, do the replacement when the engine is cold to avoid burning yourself with hot coolant. So that's it for this time. We hope the video helps find the problem. Please like and subscribe, it's a huge help for what we're doing. Thanks for watching and thanks for your time.